Congratulations! If you're watching this video, you made it through 2020, and you deserve commendation and a Lifetime Achievement Award, because this year sucked ass. So I hope you enjoyed this video where I talk about the best movies of the worst year. Now, there were a lot of films that were pushed back. There were many films I was very excited to see, like Saint Maud, for instance, that may or may not have ended up on this list. And that's just the luck of the draw. So I was left to choose from a lot of films that I didn't review this year. There were many indie films I missed that I've caught up on over the past 2 months. And so the majority of the movies on this list do not have formal reviews on my channel. I've taken on also a lot of extra responsibilities in my personal life and in my professional life this year. And in some cases, I just simply didn't have the time to review some of these movies. But I wanted to make sure that I got to talk about them now. So without further ado, let's start with some honorable mentions. Driveways, one of Brian Dennehy's last performances, and a film in 2020 that successfully depicts human kindness and empathy without a hint of cynicism. Yes, God, yes, a hilarious look at a strict Catholic girl who discovers porn in the early 2000s. One Night in Miami, Regina King's exciting directorial debut that imagines a conversation between Muhammad Ali, Malcolm X, Sam Cooke, and Jim Brown. Pieces of a Woman, which features a visually arresting first half hour and stunning performances throughout. Hunter x Hunter, not the anime, one of the best endings of the year, and a star-making performance by Camille Sullivan. Let Him Go, Kevin Costner and Diane Lane do some of their best work in this old-fashioned western. The Wolf of Snow Hollow, a thoroughly original werewolf tale. Jim Cummings' sophomore film was even better than his last. Run, my favorite thriller of the whole year. Totally Under Control, a must-see documentary on COVID-19. It clinically and factually dissects the information we had early on, what could have been done, and what was actually done. It makes for a fascinating, if disturbing, watch. Time, a devastating and also rejuvenating documentary about racial discrimination in the justice system. And Soul, the best animated film 2020 gave us. I recommend checking out all those films. They're all worth seeing. If you thought some of them should be on my list, I think by now you guys kind of know how this goes. This is my list. This is going to be completely subjective to me. It's the movies that affected me the most. It's the ones that I enjoyed the most. It's the ones that gave me something. It's the ones that made me inspired about film, writing, directing in general. And I'm excited to talk about them. So let's get started with number 10. This is one of a group of 5 films streaming on Amazon Prime right now in Steve McQueen's Small Axe series. Depicting a 1970 trial in London, Mangrove details the unjust and frankly sickening treatment of an innocent black business owner who's constantly harassed by the London police. The ensuing trial is compelling not just for the importance of the story, but for the distinction of McQueen's unconventional vision. He lingers on shots that burn into your mind, and he is not afraid to have long sequences of silence. A loving tribute to 1950s sci-fi, The Vast of Night is the debut film from Andrew Patterson, and I sure hope there's more to come. Almost immediately while watching this film, I was brought back to the days of researching alleged UFO sightings as a child. The excitement that came from that moment when just for a second you believed something was out there. Watching Patterson's excellent indie swept me up in those feelings again. It's also ingenious from a budgetary perspective, particularly one long tracking shot and how he went about attaining it. It's inspiring stuff for hopeful filmmakers. Spike Lee's searing drama about the repercussions of the Vietnam War showed us a perspective that we don't commonly see from Hollywood when they try to depict this era. Interspliced with haunting, real-life footage, Lee's film manages to be terrifying, enthralling, and somehow really goddamn funny. Delroy Lindo deserves Best Supporting Actor consideration, and if nominated, this is probably the scene they'll use. In this quietly devastating drama, Riz Ahmed plays a heavy metal drummer who begins to lose his hearing. As a result, his entire life is overhauled. The film's real heart and soul lies in his interactions with those in the deaf community, attempting to help deaf children and adults. These scenes are honestly educational, but the film doesn't hold our hands. This isn't a greeting card. It pulls no punches, showing what this can do to a person. The sound design, too, is stunning, weaving us in and out of his new perspective seamlessly. We understand exactly what he's going through. Aaron Sorkin's signature rapid-fire dialogue returns for a thrilling look at a widely publicized trial. An improvement on the already great Molly's Game, The Trial of the Chicago 7, although changing a few things, gives an insightful and often maddening look into an embarrassing moment for the justice system. Sacha Baron Cohen steals nearly every scene he's in, and Frank Langella plays a villain so shockingly vile that I struggle to comprehend that this person actually existed. Despite the subject matter, Sorkin keeps the film accessible. Some might wish for a different tone, but if more people watch it and learn the story as a result, I say that's a win. After Denzel Washington masterfully brought Fences to life, he returns once again as a producer, this time to adapt another one of August Wilson's plays. After the sudden and tragic loss of Chadwick Boseman this year, it was euphoric to see him give the best performance of his career as Levy, a musician struggling to be heard in a world that doesn't want to listen. Viola Davis somehow keeps topping herself as Ma Rainey, the mother of the blues, a fearsome singer who won't take shit from anybody. Riveting performances from the entire cast and 2 heartbreaking monologues from Boseman made this one of the most memorable films of the year. In 6th grade health class, I was shown a slideshow and then a video designed to teach us about safe sex. But from now on, schools should just show their classes this film. Never, Rarely, Sometimes, Always is a story about a teenage girl attempting to get an abortion. But check your stance on this topic at the door when you watch this movie, because the film is designed to depict just how difficult that actually is to do for a girl. It's not preachy in the slightest. It doesn't tell you how to feel, and it doesn't tell you what to think. We're a fly on the wall for the duration, observing Autumn, played masterfully by Sydney Flanagan in her first role, answering invasive questions about how the baby was conceived. It's the film's best scene, and it speaks volumes about a hidden backstory we never fully understand. But that doesn't matter. It says enough. This film has not left my mind since seeing it. A film from HBO, Bad Education, was an early gift this year, giving us an awards-worthy contender back in April. I love stories about true crime, especially unusual ones like this. Sometimes the greatest crimes are committed in the plain sight of friends, family, and coworkers on a daily basis. This film puts a face to those crimes and asks us if we're willing to sympathize or condemn. Hugh Jackman and Allison Janney both do incredible work in this underrated film that hopefully won't be swept under the rug in the coming years. When a Korean family moves to Arkansas in the 1980s, they discover that the so-called American dream doesn't always come easy. A subtle, quiet film, Minari is one of the few movies released this year that actually made me feel happy and even hopeful when it was over. Beautifully shot and understated in almost every way, Minari feels like the kind of film no one's making anymore. A wholesome, family-oriented drama with hidden pain under the surface. Please don't miss this one. Now it's time to talk about my favorite film of 2020. I haven't reviewed this film, and I probably never will. And you're going to understand why after I talk about it. I saw The Father at TIFF this year virtually and was blown away by it. Not just by the performances, but by the presentation. In his best performance since Silence of the Lambs, Anthony Hopkins plays a father dealing with dementia. He forgets where he is, mistakes his daughter for someone else, and loses touch with reality. What makes this film so unique, though, is that the story is told entirely from his perspective. His confusion and disorientation becomes ours. His daughter, played wonderfully by Olivia Colman, will at times be replaced by a different actress. I was initially startled by this, but soon realized that this film, like no other before it, was making the viewer comprehend what having something like dementia or Alzheimer's is really like. The reason I didn't review the film back in September was because I felt that it was just going to be too personal for me. You see, about a year ago, late last year, my grandfather passed away, and for the remaining years of his life, he had dementia, and it was horrible. He would forget who we all were. He at one point forgot how to even vocalize, really. And there was really no way to prepare us for that. And it was a terrible experience. And this movie helped me heal from that a little bit and kind of contextualize it and understand it. Most of the times when you see a film about someone who has dementia or Alzheimer's, it's usually from the perspective of people who are trying to help that person, and you're sort of an outside viewer. This movie made you feel like you were living in a fantasy world because you're inside his head, and it really helped me understand things and deal with things and come to terms with things that affected my family last year and in the remaining years of my grandfather's life. And for that reason, this movie had a major, major impact on me. And I honestly didn't think I could review it back in September. I just felt like it would be too emotional. And I'm happy that I've had some time pass from it and I've been able to really let the film sink in. I think it's a marvelous movie with an Oscar-worthy performance by Anthony Hopkins. He could be nominated and he could even win. He's really brilliant in the film, and I can't wait for you guys to see it. And I'll probably never review it, because just take this as the review, because it's a marvelous movie and it meant a lot to me. Guys, thank you so much for watching movies with me this year and for watching my channel. It means a lot, especially this year, because all of us had extra things on our plate, new things to deal with, new concerns that we've never dealt with before. So it meant a lot that you guys stuck around, and I really appreciate that. Thank you so much for doing that. I had a good year in some ways, and in some ways there were things this year that were just awful. But behind the scenes, I've had a lot of really great experiences professionally, and I can't wait to tell you guys more things next year and share some stuff with you that I'm really excited about. There are positive things on the horizon. So truly, thank you so much for watching this year. I look forward to talking with you guys about more movies next year. As always, if you like this, you can click right here and get Stuckmanized.